I don't know if you guys can see us or hear us at the moment, but tell us if there is any problems, like with a virtual interview. But if you can hear us, I can introduce you to the man himself, Bergie. I'm here in Trondheim, birthplace and hometown of Bergie. What an honor, Bergie. You have, I think it's the third time you're on the podcast. You're up there with Riolo and Softy B, I believe, at the moment, as the most guest on the podcast. How are you, man?
I'm good. I mean, the viewers can't see the weather, but the weather is amazing right now. Thankfully, because it's been really bad so far this summer/spring. But no, I'm great. I'm honored to be on the show again and to be in the same ranks as the likes of Softy and Viola. I mean, that's pretty cool.
And as you can see, this sort of podcast or live chat is sponsored by, first of all, Coca-Cola, but also this gift from Bergie from Japan. If you know my stories from when I'm somewhat drunk, it's Cuba Libre I drink, and if I'm sober, it's Monster. So this is Monster Cuba Libre. I don't think I will drink it. I will just keep it as a memory. But yeah, really cool there. I'm a bit too low. Okay. Normally I'm not too low, but yeah, it is what it is. I just have one microphone. The other microphone, as you might know, broke down in Paris. No, it was in Lyon. But yeah, what do you want to talk about today? What is the most important things? I mean, you have been on the podcast twice before. Some relative topics are obviously new Trackmania, but where should we start? What is the first topic you want to talk about?
K-pop?
K-pop. It's a short podcast. Bye bye, guys.
Nah, I'm open for anything. I mean, the most logical topic is Trackmania and the new game.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can go with that. And then if others have questions about other stuff, then yeah, I'll answer that too.
And yeah, as I said with the virtuals interview, you can ask questions. This is the reason why we do it live. Help me out. I pretty much asked all the questions from Bergie's past, at least. But we can start with the new Trackmania. Go right into it. What's your first impression of the things you saw in Lyon, the things you have seen now later?
Well, if we go back to Lyon, I didn't know anything. I hadn't seen any screenshots. I don't know if others had, but either way, I was really impressed. I thought the game looked fresh. It looked like a game that's from 2020 and not from 2010, which is, in my opinion, really important these days. I mean, the graphics should be up to date. Let's just say that. In terms of the new blocks, I mean, for me, the thing that stood out was there's no Rammsteins anymore. Like, you can't even see them. I don't know how that will affect the physics, but I guess that you can't really Rammstein bug at all.
Yeah.
Neither through landing or drifting. So it looks smoother, I guess. The dirt is a bit different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I'm a big dirt fan to begin
It's
with.
a good thing for you.
Yeah. I might stay away from that. But no, I think the small additions with like the poles and the trees and all that stuff, it just makes the game aesthetically look better. So that's all I can say for now from what I've seen.
I saw some people asking when it was virtual, it said maybe the game looks too childish and maybe it doesn't look as good, but you would say that you liked the new design.
It depends. Like, we don't know what the view or agenda with the Trackmania from Ubisoft's perspective is, because if they wanted to look like a sim racing game, then obviously it's too childish. I wouldn't use childish, but like, it's catered towards the younger generation, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you need to find a mix, and in this case, it's a good idea for new people to come into the game because it looks better. It looks more beautiful.
And for people that say that, okay, why is Ubisoft now? They have Trackmania is WC, Trackmania Nation Forever, Trackmania 2 Stadium. Why are they releasing a 4th edition of the Stadium and sort of like milking what has been a success since 2006?
Yeah, that is a good question. I don't know if it ever was possible to keep building on what they had.
Yeah.
Maybe they had to make a new game. But when they decided to do that, I believe it's a good decision to keep the same model that has been working in the past. I don't care if people think it's milking. It is the environment, the game that has been the most popular.
Yeah.
It is the one that most people want to be competitive. So why not make a new version? And we can go to the pricing thing later, but I think it's a good decision. It doesn't make much sense to make new games, at least if they want to build it competitively, which to me it looks like they want to with this.
Yeah, go ahead with the pricing. I said that it's a good move. Talking about the esports side, what is your overall view? We have seen some drama with people being not pleased with it. We've seen some hardcores being pleased with it. What is your view on it?
I mean, personally, I like it, but I can see both sides here. Like from a casual's perspective, they might believe it's too expensive. I while I do see that point, I don't agree at all because it's very little money per month. If you play the casual, like the starter edition, you get to keep the track of the day, yeah. And then if you pay like $2 a month or something, you get the next edition. Even though it's a subscription, that's fine. Other games do that as well, and they bring out much less content. I have used FIFA as an example. There's rarely any changes there, and it costs like $60, $70 per year.
Yeah.
I'm one of those that keep buying it. So, I mean, I'm as stupid as others.
Yeah.
But if you like the game, I think you should support it. And this is the key, though. Nadeo or Ubisoft, they need to pump out the content continuously to warrant the subscription model. Otherwise, it might be a backlash.
Yeah, imagine if, let's say this was a story for Trackmania 2 Stadium, released 7 years ago, and if you had the updates we had in the past with Trackmania 2 Stadium, do you think that people would still resubscribe to Trackmania 2 Stadium if they had the same pricing model?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't. If you like a game, you're gonna subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Even if it's, by your standards, a little bit pricey. And for me, and I know for a lot of others as well, I weigh up the time I use on something to the price.
Yeah.
So like whenever I buy new headphones, how much am I gonna use them? It's not really like the same comparison because there's different price ranges here, but I think you can apply it to Trackmania as well. If you know you're gonna play like 20 hours a week, then I think this price won't matter at all.
But do you think when you talk about the different tiers, you have some sort of locks with each tier? Are you agreeing with it, or should they maybe have access someone to the new starters to somewhere else? Maybe lock something else out, or
So I haven't really like figured out completely what all the locks are, so you might need to help me here. But as far as I know, the official competitions like TMGL, they're only for the club, right?
yeah,
But what about all the other tournaments?
they are in the starter access
Okay,
as far
okay.
as I know.
Well, if it's that way, then I don't mind it, because the club is meant to like incentivize people to try to become competitive. Some people will be discouraged by this because it's more expensive to play it, but as long as there's other features that people want, then I don't mind it. But there needs to be a way for players to compete in tournaments without needing the club edition. So if it is like you said, you can play like, let's say some
TTC last week.
well, not like TTCs or other team tournaments like TCS or whatever it's called. I wanted to say ESL, but RIP.
RIP.
That's how boomer I am. Yeah, but as long as you can play those type of tournaments in the starter edition, then I'm fine with how it is.
Matthias Pedersen asked, related to the pricing, do you think that this is going to be a good or bad thing for Nadeo in the long run? Will they eventually earn more money then?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think so. But it requires the player base to increase. People need to understand that Nadeo as a business, I don't think they've earned like a lot of money on Trackmania 2, besides the sales from when the game came out, which was like, what was it, $28? So something like that. I can't remember. It was pretty cheap at least. So this is. It has like a double feature here. It has two sides. So it's a way for people to be competitive and support the game, while Nadeo are able to earn money from the game. And this can in the future be put into other areas inside the game, or maybe even a new game in like 10 years.
We have seen some information about what we can know, but there are certain topics we don't really know about. When I ask people what is Trackmania missing the most, it's matchmaking or sort of a ranking system.
Yeah.
Do you think that will be implemented, or should it be implemented?
If you look at other games from Ubisoft, at least the multiplayer games, I believe there is a ranking system. I mean, Trackmania had it, but not in a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think they should do it. It's another way to get people engaged in the game. It gives people a motive with how they play. So like for someone that's not necessarily super competitive and already well established in the scene, they have a goal. So they can be like, okay, within Christmas I'm gonna be rank 1 in Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
for example. Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
exactly, yeah.
that's enough of motive for someone to keep playing. So I definitely think it's something that is needed, and this can also be utilized for other orgs to pick up players for
Yeah.
um, tournaments, and also maybe have like for open Grand League or something, you can qualify by being high on the leaderboard. So yeah, I think it's an addition that they should add, and if they haven't, they need to consider it for the future.
Yeah. You talk about updates. I mean, we talk about them now need to update, but what updates do you think they should update in the future? Is it just going to be new blocks? Is it just going to be new designs? What should they update in the future for?
I mean, I'm not a game designer, so it's a bit difficult to discuss. But well, first of all, they need to bring out tracks all the time, which they have said they're doing with like the daily tracks. But I think they need to go even further beyond that. At tournaments, there need to be continuous tournaments. In my opinion, there needs to be more tournaments than we even need. Like there has to be a broad variety of tournaments to pick from. Even if they overlap, it's fine as long as there's enough. And I think there should be specific ones for tiers of skill level. So everyone has a chance to play and maybe feel like they are experiencing something good from it. Besides that, graphics-wise, yeah, don't mind. I would prefer if the game was already so well built from the beginning that they don't need many like graphic updates and such. But the most important thing for me is the technical side of playing, so like map updates and such.
Yeah. But it's a good thing you bring up the tournaments here, because I feel like every time someone add a tournament and it's the same weekend as another tournament, the Trackmania community goes crazy, because if you have a tournament at one day, like it's sort of like a rule in Trackmania, then yeah, that's mine. Nobody else should come here. But in the end, it's better for people to have option to play for.
It is. I mean, ideally, we would have the same scene and saturation as, let's say, CSGO, where there's very rarely tournaments that overlap. But we're not in that position. So for me, it's better to have like 5 tournaments in the same weekend than 1.
Yeah.
Well, it's not better, but it works. So.
And talking about the seasonal campaign that is brought up, what is your view on that? I mean, you have some things that, I mean, I think the casual fan enjoy the most is maybe to have this campaign that comes in. Do you think that they will like a new seasonal campaign, or would they stick to what is there all the time, like the Trackmania Nations Forever that has been there now for, I don't know, 12 years?
I think the original campaign is fine for like the first week or so, but then people get bored. A seasonal campaign would give people motivation to stay highly ranked, like if there's a rank system, and then Nadeo just like need to have enough content in there for it to work. But I think the ranking is maybe the key for a seasonal campaign. Yeah.
We have seen some interviews with Hillis. I've done 2 with him, and he's also done with other. I think he has like 100 news outlets. At least he reached out to 100 news outlets. What have you made of what Hillis has said? Some people say that maybe his English is not good enough, so it's somewhat confusing. What have you listened to them? Have you read them? What is your view on what he is saying?
I have read a little bit. I can't remember everything, but first of all, his English is fine. Like obviously, it's not his native language, so there might be some misunderstandings here and there. But like the overall consensus is pretty easy to understand. I think that whatever they're doing and what he's saying sounds very promising, but we need to see it before we can make a verdict. That's my opinion. I think it looks very promising. That's all I can say.
And about the microphone, I think this is the max. I'm not a technical guy. It was the same problem with the virtual. The microphone is a little bit too low. I don't want to move it back and forth because of Corona. I need to be somewhat responsible here. So it is what it is, but sorry if it's low. But feel free to ask us any questions, and we will bring them up. It's a bit far here, so I cannot read it totally.
Joran or Yuvo, I agree with that as well. With the environments and the competitive one, Trackmania or Stadium is the one that has been popular in the competitive scene because it has been pushed. Mainly, I mean, they did with Canyon as well, but not as much. You could see with Canyon there weren't that many participants anyway. So it would be strange if they were to choose a completely different environment for the new game. and it warrants why they chose Stadium.
Mm.
So I think that's the right way.
But do you think that this is going to be the final Trackmania again? They call this the Trackmania, but
No.
if I go back to like Manialand, what's happened at least, that was going to be the final product. That was going to work for the rest of the life they had. But now it's a new game again. Do you think that this is going to be the last game?
No.
Why not?
It's just in the habit of or the nature of game developers. I mean, you could say CS:GO is going to be the last CS:GO, but we know it's not going to be. There will always be new games. My only hope is that the new Trackmania, like Trackmania 3 or 4 or whatever, it takes a while till it's out. So, yeah. I would love to see the new Trackmania become like CS 1.6, where it lasts for like 15 years or something, or even longer, because that's the sign of a good game.
Talk about it's just 1 month until the game is out. It's under a month. Are you gonna play it? Are you gonna try it? Is it maybe the return for it for Bergie?
I need to buy it.
You need to buy it.
I
yeah.
haven't bought it yet. No. In terms of competitive, I will keep playing TTCs and such. Like, I don't mind that at all. But honest opinion, when I played the Zero to Hero Cup, I actually trained a lot, which I shouldn't have because it was during my thesis. But I realized there that I can't compete anymore. Yeah, I don't even have the consistency which I kind of used to in the past. So then, yeah, it's GG. But I don't mind playing TTCs and all those fun cups. I don't mind playing in the Solar Cup, which I got invited to, because I still enjoy playing. But in terms of competitiveness, the only chance I would return to something would be like if it was maybe like a Nations Cup to help Norway, or like a national tournament or something like that. Then maybe I could do it, just to show virtual I'm still better.
And talking about national tournaments, some people with a new game hope that this will bring in a new player base. Maybe Norway can get somewhat big again, maybe Sweden can be big again. Do you think that Nadeo and then Ubisoft will be able to reach new player markets, or is it still going to be France, basically more or less only?
I think France will still dominate it, unless Trackmania goes really big in other regions.
Yeah.
I don't really know much yet, but I have seen teasers that it might go big in other regions. I'm not going to say anything else, but it might, which would be huge. But in terms of Europe, I mean Norway and Sweden, they have kind of like a history with racing scene, from like not games but the racing in general. Same with other regions like Germany and Netherlands, etc. So there's no reason why they can't become big. I think the racing genre as an esport is very undersaturated. It's not fully optimized to its potential. So Trackmania has a chance to grasp that again, and I don't see why not. With Ubisoft's backing, if they do the same as they have with Rainbow Six, the game is going to be huge.
And we talk about the potential market that Trackmania is really small at the moment. It's Asia. You have just been there buying this in Japan. Do you think that they will be able to reach the Asian market, or should they mainly focus about maybe Europe first and then North America? Or
they should definitely focus on Europe first, because that's where Trackmania has a name right now, and then they should expand if they can. I don't know how to do it because I'm not an expert in marketing, but there's no reason why it cannot become big in other nations. Like, okay, so let's take China or like Asia as an example. China at least have the F1 Grand Prix, so there is a scene for racing there for sure. So there's no reason why they cannot like Trackmania as well, even though statistically and historically Asia prefer like the RTS type of games, the real-time strategy and FPS right now. But I know Rainbow Six is huge in Asia. I think was it Korea? I can't remember. It was one of the three big countries, Japan, China, or Korea, where Rainbow Six is huge. And that's because they pushed it there, not initially. Same with Brazil. In Brazil, Rainbow Six is huge as well. I think one of the playoffs for Rainbow Six was held there. So if Ubisoft utilized their strategy well, then yeah, it can become big in other regions like Asia. And if they do that, that would be huge. I remember there was a guy from Chinese Taipei or Taiwan, which we say now. He was at WCG in 2000 and I think it's 9, so in Chengdu, China. WCG is World Cyber Games, so people still don't know that.
No boomers.
Yeah, I know. I'm a boomer, okay. And he said Trackmania is quite big in Taiwan
Okay.
at that time, but that was during the prime of Trackmania. There was also South Korean participating. I mean, it's more common that they participate when it's in Asia, but my point is, if the game could be somewhat big in Taiwan at that point,
Yeah.
why can't it be big in 2020 or 21 or 22, etc.?
If you had to pick one country or two countries outside of Europe, which is going to be the main countries outside of Europe that is going to play this game?
Uh, my heart wants to say Japan or Korea for obvious reasons, but I think China would be better just because China is a much bigger country, and if more people play in China, there will be way more exposure.
Yeah.
But in terms of like infrastructure within gaming, maybe South Korea is better than. So that's one, or we could take both of them. Yeah, another country. I mean, the Brazilian scene is really big for esports. I've seen some of like the ESL Rio tournaments and such for CS. The crowd is amazing there. I think it would bring a lot of hype, and Brazil has somewhat of a history with Trackmania as well. Like for the ESWCs, there were always Brazilians participating from 2006 even. But then if there is a third option, the obvious choice here is USA.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably those.
Subtimal is asking when was the prime time of Trackmania then?
Probably between 2008 and 2011.
Yeah.
So,
Trackmania Nation forever.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, I mean, 2006 and 2007, I played, but I wasn't really part of the international offline scene at least. Like, I did my first international event was in 2008.
Yeah.
So I don't really know too much about the participation numbers and such from the years before for ESWC. But yeah, during TMNF it was huge. It was at the biggest, almost all the biggest LAN events except for MLG. So yeah, think about it. DreamHack had Trackmania.
Yeah.
They even had a Canyon tournament, which I played in.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was like a showcase of the game, and it had quite decent prices.
When?
Must have been 12.
It must have been for promoting the new game, I guess. Then.
Yeah, it was at, I think it was DreamHack Winter, so it was after the game came out.
Okay.
And after ESWC, where it was, oh, yeah, no, it was in 2012, but I can't remember actually when. But yeah, I played in it, Haki Junior played in it because he was there with Zuba / Red Bull. Kevin played in it, the Swedish guy. So yeah, I have played in the Canyon tournament. But it was big then. Trackmania was big back then, and then it went down.
But do you think that Village said that they are planning to release other environments? But do you think that maybe they should just stick to Stadium to make it easier for new players to, this is the game that we want to play? Because maybe it's confusing for new players. How should I play Canyon, Lagoon, Valley? What should I start?
I don't mind other releases, but I hope that it doesn't happen too soon. In that case, I hope that I don't know how they're gonna do it though, because they do the same in, like, let's say World of Warcraft, where it's the same concept, but they release new games, and it works for them. But they don't really have like a super competitive scene right now, so people might say that it will add confusion again and split the scene again. But as long as it's different from Stadium, then I don't think it will. Because people will realize that this is meant to be more like a casual game, and that's fine.
Hiller said in my interview that he's hoping for 10 million players, that is his goal, and then his dream is like 30 to 40 million.
Yeah.
Do you think that they can reach those numbers, and if so, are those players going to stick to Trackmania?
Well, you never know if they're going to stick. Like,
Yeah.
People will try it, and then if they like it, they like it. I don't know what their total was for TMNF or TMN ESWC, but 10 million sounds doable. I mean, if you market the game well enough, if you have good enough content, then yeah, sure, why not? I believe that they should maybe consider getting someone like Soda Pop in to show off the game as well, like someone big, like Zerator.
Yeah.
Zerator probably will, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But for the international scene as well, I mean, we've seen Soda Pop in play Canyon a lot. He loves the game, so why not pay some of those guys a slump of money, and which will probably be a big slump, but to show off the game, because believe it or not, that will actually bring attention to it. A lot of people don't even know what Trackmania is. So
it's like marketing. One of the better marketing strategies is to get streamers. Ask your fellow teammate or fellow teammate in Nordavind about what streamers he wants to stream. He brought up some big names. What is your let's say, Mount Rushmore of streamers you want to maybe showcase Trackmania in the start?
Which streamers?
Yeah. If you could pick anyone.
Pokemon, Alinity, and Redna. Well, Soda Poppin is one. I would say Asmongold just because he's so big now, but I don't think he would play that game. Maybe XQC.
Yeah.
XQC seems like the type of. He played Trackmania as well, I think,
He did
on stream once. Yeah.
recently,
Was it the stadium?
I think it was Canyon.
Canyon.
Oh, Turbo maybe.
Turbo.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, it was Turbo. Yeah,
I think
okay.
so.
I forgot that game existed. Yeah, so those two, and then maybe even a female streamer like Pokemon, just
Yeah.
because. But believe it or not, it will probably bring more attention to the female gamers than the male. So
Some of the same names that Virtual picked, like Soda Poppin and XQC.
XQC, yeah. I mean, those are the biggest ones,
Yeah.
so it makes sense. Maybe Lyric as well,
Yeah, you also
or
mentioned
some, or
Lyric, yeah.
Summit. You know.
Just
all the-
copy pasting Virtual.
Yeah, well, great minds think alike,
Yeah.
right?
But I mean, all of those three has played Trackmania, has some sort of relationship to it, so it's not like gonna be brand new to it.
Yeah. I just saw a comment from SRK saying
Sure.
Kart Rider is mind-bogglingly big in Asia. That's actually true. Kart Rider is like, it's a super simple racing game.
Okay.
It doesn't have the greatest graphics, but it's massive, especially in South Korea. So yeah, there is potential for a racing game for sure.
Do you think that that's gonna be harder for Trackmania to enter because then maybe they have some sort of entry, or will it be easier because then they have some sort of history with racing games?
No, I think it will be easier. But isn't Kart Rider a mobile game?
No idea.
I think it is. I'm not 100% sure, but I spoke to someone about this the other day, but I think it is a mobile game.
Okay, we'll get in chat. I have no idea
maybe
about
someone
how
in the
delayed
chat
it is.
then. Yeah, maybe someone in the chat can. It's on PC. Okay.
Okay.
Well, either way, Trackmania has the history,
Yeah.
and if they like Kart Rider, they will probably be interested in trying something that looks cool as well. So yeah, I don't see why it can't be big.
But we saw it's now June 11th. On Saturday, when it's June 13th, Serator will stream the new game because obviously the Stella T Trackmania Cup was supposed to take place then.
Yeah.
But do you think that maybe they should give the game to someone English as well to give some pre-hype, or should they wait with contacting streamers until people can actually buy the game, like, and try it themselves?
No, I think they should do it now. Have someone do it, even if it isn't like, let's say, Soda Poppin.
Yeah.
Even someone like Riolu.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna buy it anyway, so he's gonna play it on that day. But they could have done something more formal about it. Like, have someone that has or spam. Have someone that has the community behind them, has a name in the scene, knows the game in and out to showcase the new things.
Yeah.
So if it's not like a super big streamer, choose someone from the community. That helps too.
Yeah. Someone actually knowledge about what is different and maybe what is cool about
Yeah.
the new game.
But on that note, I will say that we in Nordavind have something planned for
Ooh.
when the game comes out. So
Any leaks or any information,
No.
any teasers?
no, it will just be. I think it will be a good showcase of the new game. So,
But do you think that Nordavind is obviously one of the bigger orgs in Trackmania? Do you think that a new game will give more motivation to maybe newer orgs or existing orgs to actually do something in the game?
initially, no, just because it's a new game. It doesn't mean that people will be incentivized to give it a go. But TMGL, if it keeps progressing this way, and Ubisoft keep backing the new game, then yeah, new orgs will be tempted to join. And from what I've heard, there are already new orgs that
It's coming,
not necessarily coming, but they're interested.
Okay.
So this is not a leak for season 2 because I don't know if there are orgs that are confirmed to be in season 2, except for the ones that are already in.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that they are curious, which
Yeah.
they should be, because Trackmania could become like one of the top 5, or maybe not top 5, but you know what I mean, like the tier S, tier 1 esports games, which it almost was back in the prime. So sure, why can't the new orgs be interested? But I don't think just because there's a new game
Yeah.
coming out that they're automatically gonna be curious. So
I asked you to pick favorite streamers. Is there any favorite orgs that you want to come into Trackmania with the maybe new Trackmania Grand League season or?
there's a lot to pick from.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like one from other regions as well, so I can just pick a few. I would like LGD from China. They're massive. They also have a partnership with PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, for Dota and Rocket League, I think. and maybe a few other ones. I would like someone like SK Telecom from Korea. That's a no-brainer because they're so big. I can't think of any big ones in Japan, so I'm gonna skip that. Brazil, there are some big ones. I mean, in the past they were bigger, but I think MIBR still are there, so maybe something for a Brazilian player. And then from US and Canada, you have like Liquid. That would be cool if they came in. Maybe MIP, Fnatic, SK have been there in the past. I don't think they're as big as they used to be though. Maybe Dignitas again. So yeah, there's a lot of big orgs that I would love to see in there. I mean, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
It would be great for the scene.
And once again, if you have any questions, there is a pretty active chat here, so feel free to ask any questions. What are you going to do first in the Trackmania 20, or the new Trackmania then, I guess?
Not play Dirt.
Full speed?
I don't know, like, a lot of people in the chat probably remember Raw.
Yep.
He's playing a lot of TMN ESWC right now. There's a little bit of hype for that game. And he really looks forward to the new one. He's not going to return competitively, but he's going to play it a lot casually, so I might just be on a server like with him and just test out stuff. I've never been a fan of campaign, but I guess I will try it. But probably just like be on online servers, see how the game blossoms, and hopefully be able to help with that process. So
yeah, bringing up some people that maybe said that to retire but still sticks around seems to bring some confusion into Trackmania. I mean, you retire but you're still in Trackmania. Can you tell people what does it mean to retire as a competitive player and still, why are you still in Trackmania then?
I mean, if you're gonna be politically correct, retiring means that you're not playing at all, I guess. But I mean, you can see that with footballers nowadays. They don't play professionally, but they might join like some fun, like memorial tournaments and like the best 11, etc. You know what I mean?
All boys.
Yeah, well, pretty much all boys. That's what I am right now. For me, when I retired professionally, I always stated and emphasized on the fact that I wouldn't return as like a professional player. I did play that one Main of Planet World Cup qualifier, but that was like just a stint because I wanted to and I have had time. But for me, I am retired as a professional, like a full professional. I'm not a player under an org. I am a manager, but that's different. I'm not earning money for playing.
Yeah.
So I'm not a professional anymore. But I will still keep playing tournaments for fun if I feel like it. Yeah. But mostly not tournaments that have money in them, because that's not my goal. Yeah. I think it's the same for quite a few others as well. But a few of the others have kind of gone back to trying to play professionally again. So I don't know why they're using their retirement word, but it's fine. There are worse things in the world. Like we shouldn't really be discussing whether a player retired or not, or like what's the right term for a definition for retiring. Like I think there's more important things to focus on.
A question about Sushi Brought asked about the newer car models. Yeah, now yesterday we saw the skins for Belgium, Norway, etc., and today we see from other skins. What is your, if you start with the car model itself, what is your view on that?
So I'm probably not alone in this, but when we first saw the pictures and the clips, it looked strange. Yeah. Now I can't really say if I like it or not before I've actually tried to play it. I think I said the same when Turbo came out, because at first I thought it looked really bad, and I can't remember what I actually decided about it in the end, but the car model is definitely wider, right? It's wider and a little bit flatter.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will actually impact how it feels to drive it. I don't think it's supposed to, but I can't say for sure anything yet. I think it looks, if you want to use childish as the word here, the descriptive word, it does look more childish than the current one, but I'm okay with that because the design of the game has more of a childish approach. I think it would look weirder if it had the current model in the new game, because then it looks completely out of place. So, but I would have to try it first to like come up with a conclusion.
And we are both from Norway. Yesterday we lost to Belgium. We are out of the sort of skin tournament. But what is your view on the Norway skin itself? Are you gonna drive it, or are you still gonna stick to Korea?
You know, well, I won't know that until I see the Korean skin. But you know what? When I first saw the Norwegian skin, I wasn't super impressed. But that was at first sight. But then I looked closer at it, and when I saw the snow crystals, it's actually sick. It's amazing. But it's a little bit difficult to see unless you actually try to see. That was my only negative thing about it. But then again, it might be difficult to make it more viewable without like completely ruining the car. But I think the Belgian one with like the Red Devil theme and such, it was really good. Same today, the Australian one looks slick, and the Polish one as well. In my opinion, the Polish one is a little bit too much compared to the Belgian one. The Belgian one was perfectly balanced, but the Polish one is a bit overboard. But I don't know which skin I will use. I would probably use the Korean just because that's what I do. But I'm really curious to see how they will do it, because you have that big logo with the Korean flag, and I think it's done really well on the TMNF car, because there it looks like a Pepsi logo. I'm curious to see it, but I think so far pretty much all the skins look amazing.
And Virtual is in the chat saying that it looks like a Marius sweater skin. Agree or disagree?
It kind of does, yeah. I don't have one, but yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing because it
Norway
symbolizes Norway, yeah. So why not?
But out of the 8 skins you have seen so far, is Belgium your front runner to win this sort of skin tournament with 32 different skins?
I don't know, because Australia had a lot of votes today. So, don't know. Maybe, I mean, in these type of competitions, you will often be a front runner if you have a big player base.
Yeah, France is gonna win.
Yeah, well, most likely, yeah. Even though France might be the worst skin, who knows? But that's just how it is. People need to vote with their brain, not the heart. But yeah, I mean, it's a stupid competition. People are just use the Nordavind skin.
Hello. But do you think that there will be some cool skin creations in the new game then?
Yeah.
Or
For sure, why not? But do we know which tier of the game you need?
They need to buy club action to actually create skins.
Okay. Well, that might incentivize more people to buy it actually, and then see this goes back to when I meant people should be able to like sell skins and buy skins like with a marketplace. I don't think that will happen in this game.
Nope.
No. But if it was possible, then there will be even more of a reason to buy the club one, because you could actually earn money from buying it.
Yeah.
But instead, the clubs are gonna buy. The orgs are gonna earn it.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a skin maker, you can still make it on the side as we do nowadays. If you take any orders from orgs, you pay for skins.
Exactly.
Still,
yeah. So it's still gonna be lucrative in some way.
A question from SRK. Back in the days, you played for Team Dignitas, the most successful team in the history of Trackmania. Do you think that the new Trackmania will maybe bring back team tournaments, or do you think that the direction now is clearly solo tournaments?
I mean, I've always thought Trackmania should be a solo tournament, even though naturally over time there were team tournaments. I don't know for sure, but I think like when Trackmania came out, I think team tournament was the first one, even before ESWC. But I know for a fact that it was meant to be an individual game. I'm not opposed to having team tournaments, but I don't think it should be the norm. I think it should be individual. That's how the game should be played going forward. And then maybe like at some LAN events, you can have some side tournaments like a 3v3 or something, which could work. I don't think we should ever consider having 5v5 at like a LAN, because it doesn't work for Trackmania. But like a 3v3 or 2v2 even, that could work. But as far as which direction we should prioritize, 1v1. Or 1v1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Solo. So.
But the last interview I did with you was in Lyon after Riolo had played Trackmania Grand League. Now we have the upcoming Trackmania Grand League summer coming in September most likely. Not sure if there is going to be a playoff online or offline, but can you tell us what is Nordavind? Are you going to keep Riolo? Are you going to look for someone else? What is the future for Nordavind in Trackmania Grand League? Are you even going to play it? Like Nordavind?
Oh, okay.
Not you. Surprise.
Surprise, yeah. We're going to play, and Riolo will be our player. We're very happy with how he performed in season one. Some people might not know this, but Riolo is not super experienced in this type of tournament, especially not on Stadium. So the fact that he finished second overall in the group phase and then top six in the playoffs was amazing. And I know that he's a little bit disappointed by his performance in the playoffs, which, you know, that's fair. I mean, everyone wants to perform as good as they can, and sometimes that doesn't happen. But he should, regardless, be very pleased with his overall performance, and so are we. So we believe strongly that he is the right guy. I've talked to him about this in the past after the tournament, because we did like a summary of his season. He definitely has some areas to improve in, which he knows about, and we will work to make sure that he improves there when the new game comes out. Because right now there's not really much point in trying to do it on the previous game, because we don't know for sure if, even though the physics are supposed to be same, there might be like some other approaches you need on the different blocks. So, but he's the right guy for sure, and we're very happy with him, and I think he's happy with us as well.
Yeah, a little side question there, back to the new game. Who do you think is going to benefit from maybe a new game? Who's going to be the player that maybe adapts the quickest? Is it going to be maybe a newcomer like Gwen? Is it going to be an OG like Carl Jr.? Is it going to be Riolo, who has played pretty much every title of Trackmania there is?
It's really difficult to answer.
Hypothetically.
Well, there's like a debate about Camp 3 right now, right? Yeah. If that one turns out really bad, I wonder what Carl would do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Carl was able to get used to it anyway, because he's a freak.
Yeah.
He's one of a kind, but that might impact him. Gwen seems like the natural fit here, because he's young. The young people usually learn faster. But I think someone like Spam or Riolo can also adapt really quickly, because they both have a lot of experience from learning other games. So it remains to see how different the game is. If it's exactly like Stadium, then it doesn't matter. Everyone will learn it. But yeah, I would advise any player out there, not only my player, to play as much as possible at the start, because you need to get used to the game as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're going to be lagging behind.
Back to Nordavind, this for the new for Trackmania Grand League Winter was that every org will have our own cast, and by far Nordavind with Virtual was the most popular. Do you think that is going to be the way to go with the summer edition? Is it going to be one cast for each org, or is it going to be one official cast? What is your view on it?
I'm sure that there will be the same procedures, same system used as in season one. I don't mind it. I think it's a great way for orgs to create a community for their player. It will help build a brand both for the player, the caster, and the org. So all of them are connected together. In terms of what I would like for the future, I would still prefer to have an overview at some point, but I believe in the process of getting Trackmania to that stage, it's better to have the system that's used now. And for us, I think it's great anyway, because as we saw in season one, it was working really well. But yeah, I think it's the best way to go for now.
But somewhat of a goal I think in the future is to have multiple languages for casting. But are Nordavind still going to stick to English cast? I mean, Virtual is fluent in Norwegian, that is his mother language. Is it English for the upcoming season as well?
As far as I know, yes. I don't know for sure yet, but very likely yes. I don't know if we have any plans of doing something. I think we will do something Norwegian related, but not for a full cast, most likely. In the future, it would be nice to see Gamers Assembly having 7 different languages, but we're not there yet. I mean, technically we could do it, but there's no point. You would have one stream with like 10 viewers and one with 30, and 2 others would have 1,000 and 5,000. I don't think there's much point. I mean, yes, you have to start somewhere, but for it all to build, it's better to keep it smaller in terms of streamers right now. So yeah.
But are you going to keep Virtual as a caster? Are you happy with what we talked a lot about, are you happy with Riolo, but we also have Virtual in Nordavind. Are you guys happy with him as well?
Yeah, we can't say anything else. That would be a lie. Virtual did amazing in the first season, and even beyond that and before that. He's built up a reputation both for himself and in the community. He's built a community for himself.
Yeah.
You can see that on like the recent video he had like 70,000
Yeah.
views, which is amazing for Trackmania. So he's done a fantastic job. I think he does a great job of keeping posture during his streams and casting. I can definitely learn from that, from the one cast that I did. But nevertheless, we want to keep him, and hopefully he wants to stay as well. So we're working on keeping him.
Nordavind is obviously based in Norway. We hope for some influence in Norway as a reason for it. Do Nordavind have some plans for maybe trying to bring some tournaments here, trying to do something in Norway to bring out the interest here in Norway?
I don't know anything about that yet, but it is something that I will try to work on and try to get Nordavind to do. I think it's still a bit too early to start building a scene in Norway again, but if Trackmania keeps going in the same direction as it has, if TMGL keeps being popular, if the clubs work out within the game, then definitely we will try to do something for the Norwegian scene as well. I missed the times where we did have Norwegian lands and there were players, so yeah. I remember the gathering in 2010, it had like 90 players participating or something, and that included international players. So yeah, hopefully we can get back to that period sometime, and we will do our best to help that.
Back to some questions about the new game. What do you think about, I mean, once you drive over ice, your tires will be affected by it once you go back to road for some bit. What do you think about this transition that they are trying to do with the surfaces now? So it's not immediately going to change, it's going to be somewhat transparent.
Why is it made like that because they want to make it look more real, or?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I mean, if you drive on snow in real life, your tires are going to be cold for a while.
Yeah. I think that's another feature that I need to try to be able to give like a proper verdict of it. Initially it sounds kind of strange if they want to make the game less realistic with like the graphics and the surroundings, but it could be a nice feature, at least aesthetically, for people that spec. I don't know how it will impact the players' feel, but too early to say.
And then another question about the new blocks, the slow motion block. What is your view on it? Is it going to be used in, let's say, the esport type that we follow, or is it mainly going to be for fun?
It doesn't really. It's not. It doesn't make it more difficult, really, does it? It seems like it doesn't really do anything. It just slows down. Yeah. I mean, there's probably some people that are super creative in mapping that will make it like have a freewheeling part under it or something, or no steer. I don't know. Again, it's too early to say. For me, it doesn't really. I'm not fussed about it. I'm not hyped, or I'm not sad about it. I think initially it's probably just gonna be like a feature that will be on the public servers, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it in like a ZRT map.
And then Subtimal asks again about a new addition to it, the reactor boost. What's your view on it? Do you have any view on it?
I can't remember, what is that again?
I think you control your car in the air somewhere.
Oh, that sounds like Rocket League.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like one of those new features that would be really cool, but again, initially it sounds completely unnecessary. But I mean, it's a new feature, and there needs to be new features for the game to keep improving, progressing, and to variant the pricing model as well. So who knows? But I can't really say much until I've tried it. It will be unfair for me to call it like a failure.
Yeah. So. And talking about the music that is popping or bopping, I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, we are in what is called work in Trondheim doing an interview, so it's a cool place here. Tell us, why did you book this place?
I've been there only once before actually, but I know it has good reviews, and it has a nice sofa area which we actually were able to keep for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So thanks to Work for lending us this area.
So only 2-hour podcast here, sorry about that. But yeah, keep the questions coming. Maybe not about only new blogs, but maybe talk about Solar Cup. The biggest surprise for me is Bergie is going to play it. Tell us how on earth, how on earth did this come to fruition? How did this happen?
Alright, so I was contacted by Carl like 3 weeks ago, or maybe even longer, He asked if I wanted to play in like a cup, which had a team format and a cash prize. And initially I thought, well, I need to think about it because I have my thesis. I need to finish that. And he also told me there would be like 2 tech maps and one like no tech. So I immediately understood what that meant. But yeah, at first I just had to think about it, and then after a few weeks I thought, well, okay, I might as well play it. And at first he wasn't sure if there was actually still a spot because I hadn't answered, but then I did get one, and so I was invited, as you can probably understand then. The reason why he invited me was because I'm a former world champion, and that obviously attracts people, I guess. And we're good friends. So you could say like this tournament is kind of a mixture between good level players, friends who have known each other for a long time, and which is also why Pack, for example, was invited. Well, he's good as well, but yeah.
Decent.
So it's meant to have a fun and relaxed format while still being competitive. I will make sure that I will stand for the fun part, not the competitive part. But yeah, it should be fun. I'm not expecting to play well. That's not even my goal. Like, yeah, I will try to do my best as possible, but I'm not gonna be like a no-lifer 24/7 because that's not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
But it should be a fun format, and I hope many people will watch it. The drafting will be interesting as well. It will kind of be like in school where you were selected to play in the gym, in the physical education classes. So I will be the last guy that never got picked for football, but that's fine.
But have you tried out the maps, and if so, Subtil will ask, do you regret that you accepted it because of the solar map?
Okay, so we can take map for map, I guess. We have time. The first, well, the non-solar maps are both made from Omnipods with help from Kaisla, and the other one I can't remember if it was a solo one. The first one it's fine. I don't mind that map. It has this quarter pipe jump. Like it's really strange and it's kind of funny, but after having played the game for 14 years, I cannot do quarter pipe jumps and all that stuff. But the map itself is fine. The ending is kind of interesting because it's one of those like typical Zeratin ones where you like flip into the finished CP. So I'll probably fail those a bit, but that map is totally fine. I actually quite like playing it. The second map has dirt in the start, and funnily enough, I'm better at the dirt part than I am at the tech part.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that map is fine overall as well. The last map, which is the solar map, honestly, my honest opinion is that it's kind of fun to play. And I'm not saying that because I'm good at it, because I'm not, but it is fun to play.
Okay.
Except for the last pole part. That one is dreadful. But that stems back to when I played the RPG with like Wally, who's in chat, and a lot of others. We used to play a lot in the nights, and I loved playing RPG, but I never liked those poles, those that you balance on. So it's I can already imagine how people laughing at me, and I will laugh at myself when I play that map, especially that map.
Yeah.
But overall, but you know what? I'm here to have fun, so hopefully I can bring a show. Sorry to my teammates in advance.
I mean, Kappa posted on Twitter that this picture, like, polls are the 8s of Trackmania, changed my mind, so you're not going to change his mind, you may more agree with it.
Well, it depends on what type of polls, though, but that balancing one for sure.
Or pipes, I guess he said.
Yeah, pipes, yeah. There is a part after where you have to, there's like a no grip block, and then you are supposed to hit a pillar, and then you lose the grip when you go through the CP. But there's more pillars, so it's really easy to hit the next one and just full stop. But yeah, it's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah, but once the announcement was out, immediate reaction from people that didn't get picked is like, why is it not open qualifiers to everyone? But you're saying that maybe they misunderstand that this is more for fun as well, because Solary wanted to hold something in front, not only just serious tryhard tournament, but friends playing together, having fun, but still having open slots, or...
I don't know for sure their whole idea behind the tournament, but I believe that since it is the last one before the new game, they wanted to make it fun. So yeah, it has a prize pool. It has one of the biggest prize pools in Trackmania, but that's just like an extra bonus. The main objective of this is just to have fun with your friends, and that's why I think the 4v4 format is pretty cool. In terms of the open qualifiers and stuff like that, believe it's the right thing to do as well. That you should have some invites, but the main goal is not to have like a super professional tournament. So, and in terms of the invites, they all make sense as well. I mean, there are some that maybe could have been invited based on performance and skills, but if the goal is to invite some big names as well from the past, like Carl, the French one, then it makes sense. So.
Philip is in chat, the guy who asked the most questions from virtual chat. So go ahead and ask some questions now. Help me out here. But we have 4 captains: Carl Jr., Bren, Papu, and Coco. If you had to pick now, who do you want to be carried by?
Carl.
Carl.
I mean, yeah, that's a no-brainer. But also, he's my best friend from those 4. I mean, no disrespect or anything to others. I love the others as well, but they know that the relationship me and Carl have. So it would be fun to play the last TM2 tournament with him, but I don't expect to get picked by him.
You picked him up for Dignitas. Now it's his favorite to pick you up.
I mean, he should, but I don't think he will. No, it would be fun, but yeah, I like all of them.
But do you somewhat fear that you are going to be the last player, or do you think about it, or?
No, I don't care. Yeah. I mean, I expect to be last. Yeah. It's fine. I mean, I'm gonna be worse than all of the players there, so it's what it is.
Yeah. Like XX Rider at the Nest or something. I think.
Well, I went out in the first round at the Nest as well against Jono, so I can't say much.
Okay, XX Rider and Bergie then at the Nest.
Yeah, it's fine. Totally fine.
And for people bringing up, I think the VODs will be allowed, so they will probably get some English voice. I think that's going to be the fun part to hear you guys on voice, but do you think that Solary should add English cast, or is that up to maybe Nadeo or the community to provide instead of Solary to think about everything?
No, I think Solary should consider it. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that the community should be in charge of that. I think as a tournament organizer, you should perhaps think what is the best way to broadcast this. And while French is obviously the main choice, as it should be, since they're French, there's nothing wrong with having an English one. There's plenty of people out there that would do it. I kind of hope that they will somehow record when our voice chat.
I think that's allowed as well on stream.
Okay, I hope they do, because that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of when those like CS and League tournaments and those events are. You can hear some of the voice come after the match, like what did they talk about during these fights and such. I think that would be a great addition.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hope that happens.
And Philip is straight in here asking a question that I forgot to ask you. Who do you think is going to be a favorite for the 4 slots in the open qualifiers? Do you have any names that you have on your block that potentially can qualify?
Gwen. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else. I mean, there's so many that could. I just think that Gwen would definitely qualify. I guess other names could be like Levon, Massa. Scotty has trained a lot, so maybe it would be cool to see him in a big tournament. Yeah, there are so many others, like all the Exalty players, Yannex. If Link tries, he might qualify. Yeah, there's just too many to mention. It's going to be a stat qualifier, I think. Afi.
Yeah. But I brought up, once I reacted to it, that maybe this is the perfect chance for like a, let's say, tier 2 player, the one below, let's say, the Trackmania Grand League players. This time you can play with a team and still win €1,000, so this is the perfect chance to try out something, right?
Yeah, and it's also a way for them to showcase their skills in case some new orgs join and they don't want to pick one of the players that are currently in. So yeah, it's a big chance for them.
Optimal bringing up that it's sort of weird to focus Trackmania on shows instead of competitions. I mean, the influence of the territory is the biggest reason here. He's focusing on show, and it seems like others are learning from it. Do you think that maybe Trackmania is heading too much to a show area, and maybe too little about, let's say, the competitive part, which that seems our hardcore community is basically just tech?
Yeah. I kind of fear that it goes in that direction, from what I've heard and seen as well. I don't necessarily believe it's a bad thing to have it show-centered, but it needs to keep the competitive integrity. How they do that, don't know, but I hope that they will keep it more like professional than shows. I don't mind shows here and there, but in an esport there should be more competitiveness. or it should be more competitive centered. The fact that the last tournament is show inspired, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's completely fine.
So it's not up to orgs that want to have fun. I mean, it feels like once Solary comes in and basically just want to help the game to showcase it, some community parties are like, nope, this is not the competitions, this is just for show, this is not what we want. But in the end, they want to help Trackmania.
Yeah. I mean, I've not been the biggest advocate for Serrator in the past,
Yeah.
I'll admit that, but I think he's done a fantastic job at showcasing the game
Yeah.
and showcasing how fun it can be. Then again, I mean, this TMGL, I guess, is kind of inspired by Serrator, but TMGL keeps the integrity, even though, like, despite some of the parts in Season 1 maps that were not necessarily good.
Yeah.
But they will improve on that. Softy will make sure that they keep the competitive integrity. So that's fine. I mean, I'm a tech player. I will always be a tech player. I will never be good on the TMGL type of maps. I will never fully like them. But I can see the appeal. And as long as they manage to disperse between the fun parts of a map and the competitive ones, then it's fine.
You talked about, you predicted maybe Scotsman could do well, or hoping that Scotty would do well in this tournament. He's in the chat when you're going to be the Bowling Meister Championship. I mean, you beat me in Paris,
I
one
did.
of the guys who have beat me in bowling, but when is the next bowling tournament? Is it going to, do you have to wait for the next LAN event? Should we just organize our own bowling for Trackmania, or?
We should all get Wii Fit and play bowling there and stream it.
I have 300 on V.
You do?
Yeah,
Damn.
back from 2012, I guess, though.
Yeah, you're a boomer. Yeah, I guess we have to wait till the next event or gathering, which is a shame, but this is what I love about the Trackmania community.
Yeah.
It's so easy to meet people, get to know each other, and then we're able to have fun. And I hope that will never change.
Yeah, it's almost like once you head into a LAN event, more people speak about just being social about the bowling instead of who is going to do well and such. It's just to socialize and be happy with each other.
I don't know how it is for other games. Well, I have been to quite a few ESWCs where I've hung around with like Dota people and CS people. They do have a tight bond, but that's mostly within their own team. And in Trackmania, it's not like that. You talk across the teams and orgs. That's what's so great about it. So
we talked a little bit about team tournaments in the start, but you said that maybe that is not Trackmania is solo game, but now that Solar is maybe trying to do something, do you think that can influence other event orgs? Maybe okay, we're gonna go in team direction as well.
don't think so.
Don't think so.
No, I think this is just like a stunt. So I hope it is.
And by the way, we have gone for 1 hour now, so we'll somewhat soon end it. I still have to drive 12 hours today, so I don't want to be dead once I start driving. But feel free to ask any questions. I guess we go for 15 to 20 more minutes. But
you don't have to necessarily ask Trackmania questions either. I can answer other stuff.
yeah, as long as it's not K-pop. But yeah, feel free to ask us anything if it's Trackmania related, life related. I mean, how was the thesis going or thesis going? You just finished, right?
Yeah, I finished a few days ago. It went really well. I stressed a bit in the end, but I think I did well and I should pass it, which is my goal. I'm not really trying to get the highest grade, I just wanted to pass it. Yeah, it's been a long journey. I mean, I started in 2016. It's a 3-year thesis. I did 2 years, and then after the first exam in the third year, I took a break because of poker, and now I finished it, so yeah, it's kind of surreal.
And for people that don't know what you study, what is the thesis and what is the major?
So I did a thesis or a bachelor degree in sports science. So the first year I spent learning different sports in case I wanted to be a teacher at school. So I learned everything from gymnastics to
Bowling?
to dancing.
Oh, dancing.
Dancing, yeah. Which I actually had an exam in and I passed. I got a C.
Wow.
I know, hip hop dance. So yeah, that was really an eventful year because it challenged me in ways I have never been challenged before. I mean, I even skied, like alpine skied for the first time. I've never done that.
Oh, really?
No, I've only done like just normal skiing, which was really tough. But I learned it and I sloped down the biggest slopes in Åre.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the one that's used for like the
World Cup, yeah.
the World Cup as well, which was amazing. Like just the feeling of having accomplished that was amazing. So yeah, I've been through a lot, but it was worth it.
And now,
No.
what is the future going? Are you going to use that degree, or are you going to stick to what is the future for you?
I will use it, but I'm also planning on maybe doing 1 year of pediatrics, just to have the option of being a teacher if I want to. But I will definitely try to get a job within sports in some way. Haven't decided yet what, because I also have a personal trainer degree that I'm missing the last exam for, the physical one. It's not really physical, but it's like being a PT and
Yeah.
guiding someone around and like making a program, which is pretty easy. So I can do that as well. Who knows? Maybe I will do something with it in esports. That's possible. I'm hoping maybe if Trackmania becomes so big that I could even get an even bigger role for Nordavind. Who knows? But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. People can now ask me stuff about sports if they are curious.
Philip asked a pretty wide question. What is your favorite memory from esports events? Do you have any that sticks out?
I don't want to say winning ESWC because it was nice, but it wasn't really like my favorite. To begin with, I was so shocked when it happened.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna show you exactly what I did the 5 seconds after I won. Okay, so I'm on stage in Disneyland.
Yeah.
It was inside Disneyland. It was super hot. I had just won that last round. Okay, so I crossed the finish line, and this is what I do. I couldn't even celebrate. Like, I was just so shocked because I never expected to even have a chance of winning, right? So if I could go back, I would have gone like crazy and probably cried and stuff like that. It was a nice moment, but it wasn't my favorite. I think my favorite was maybe WCG 2009. One, just because of where it was. It was. I had never been to Asia. The hospitality there was incredible. The amount of spectators, it was crazy. Even for a Trackmania final, there were 15,000 people watching.
Really?
15,000.
So even though Curator is going to host in a Coral Coliseum, that might not even be the biggest, or
No,
because
probably
15,
not.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. They were cheering like mad. Everyone was so friendly. They probably didn't even know who I was, but they wanted my autograph. So that was like the first taste I got of being like a celebrity in esports. But yeah, also meeting a lot of the other big names like Grubby, if you know who that is. No, Grubby is like a household name from Warcraft 3.
Okay.
He was super nice. Like, we're friends on Facebook. We even talk to each other every now and then. And meeting all the like South Korean well-known names and Chinese. The big dinner we had with the Trackmania people at the Brazilian barbecue. That was my favorite event for sure. And then one Gamers Assembly. I think it was the first one I went to. That was also really fun with Masa. So yeah, I have a lot of good memories.
I think I've done I soon have done 100 podcasts, and one of my favorite stories is the first podcast I did with you when you said that before that ESWC you were almost kicked out of the hotel and banned from the event because of some Dignitas. What line was it in Dignitas that had some parties and almost made you banned from ESWC 2010?
Yeah, it was the CS team,
Okay.
CS 1.6. If people don't remember the story, I can
go ahead.
do a quick recap. The day before I was supposed to play, the CS players were already knocked out, and they decided to party, which, I mean, it's fine. But I was sleeping. We were in an apartment that had like 6 beds or something, and I was trying to sleep or sleeping. They made so much noise together with some Ukrainians and another team that the neighbors in that hotel complex, they called the police, and the police had to come and try to calm them down and such. So the next day when I met up at the Disneyland Resort to play, one of the tournament organizers takes me to the side and he says, Bergie, I'm sorry, but you are banned from the tournament. I'm like, what? Why? And the manager comes along as well and stands beside me, Odie.
Yeah.
And the tournament organizer explains that you were making so much noise last night that the police had to come and such, and because of that and because of bad sports conduct, you are excluded from the tournament. And both Odin knew that I had nothing to do with it, and me as well. Like, I tried to plead my case that I was just sleeping.
Yeah.
And eventually they caved in and said, okay, you will just get a warning. I'm like, okay. And then I won. It's a pretty crazy story, actually. And then after I won, when I walked back to the apartment complex, the CS players were standing on the balcony,
Yeah.
cheering on me and screaming Bergie, Bergie. And they were like super sorry for all the stuff they did, and they made food for me, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, imagine if you were banned, then how would your Trackmania career look back then? Because if you think of Bergie as like world champion, right?
Yeah.
That's why you invited to Solary now as well. It's
Yeah.
10 years ago since you won it, but still people remember it. Still people bring it back because of that.
Circumstances, man. Like just these small things that can change a person's life. I mean, even in Norway, I became quite a big name then. The local newspaper here, which is one of the biggest ones, they wanted to do a piece on like 8 Norwegian prospects or 8 people from Trondheim.
Yeah.
And they included like musicians, actors, and then me, the gamer. So yeah, it pretty much changed my life.
Yeah.
So grateful. Thanks for not kicking me out.
Yeah. And I think if it was already a reason why you stick in it, because from outside point of view, you look like some sort of perfect manager. He has your back all the time.
Odie has been like a second father for me.
Yeah.
Just that simple. I still keep contact with him even though he's not in Dignitas anymore. I stayed at his place a lot. I was able to sleep. So when I went to a lot of the English events, like I went to LANs just to like help the sponsors and such, and just have fun, which he paid for. Like I wasn't there to even compete. Sometimes I played in like some Dota side tournaments and such, but I wasn't there to like compete in Trackmania. And when I went back, I always had like an early flight the next day because there was never unavailable in the evening.
Yeah.
So I stayed at his place, and they cooked food, and then like they drove me to the airport and such. And we've done so much together. We've shared hotel rooms. He was the perfect manager, and I'll gladly say he's the best one I've had. So I owe a lot to him.
Yeah.
For sure.
It seems like that is, even though you were so long in Dignitas, I mean, I talked recently with Pack, he still keep contact with Odie, and he was not that long ago, so it seems like Odie makes some sort of impact to all.
I think he has, yeah. I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone that was in Dignitas during my years. They were really happy with him. Massa would say the same as well, I'm sure. We've had some funny TeamSpeak conversations with Odie. No, he was great. He was, you know who he actually reminds me of? Sir Alex Ferguson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they're both similar in the way they treat people. He treats you with respect, and you treat him mutually with respect. So he was a really good people's person, and obviously skill-wise as well. He knew what he was talking about. Dignitas originated from Battlefield, and he was a world champion there.
Oh, really?
I mean, I think Dignitas maybe still have the most amount of world champions overall of any org. So yeah, he knew what he was talking about.
Some questions from the chat. I don't remember who asked it because it's so far up now. But what did you learn about coaching Riolo? This was your first sort of coaching role you had. You had to coach one of the most like veterans in the game that had played pretty much everything. What did you learn from it?
I learned that it's difficult to coach someone that already knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So for me, the best thing I could do was mostly just give him mental advice, because that's where a lot of the good players lack stuff. I think Colin Jr. is a great example, or the prime example of how to deal with it. I'm not saying Rioli was bad at dealing it, but I could give some advice both from my personal experience and also the studies I do. But in terms of like mechanical stuff, I didn't really need to coach Rioli as much there. So it was a good experience, and I also believe that my past as a captain for Dignitas helped in making it a smoother transition.
Some other questions here. Do you think that age is a matter in esport and maybe related to Trackmania? We have now the first world champion in Trackmania, Carl, coming back. Is age a matter here, or any benefit from being young like Gwen compared to being the age of Carl?
I think age will always matter, but it might kick in later for a few people than others. Carl was doing really good in the Zero to Hero Cup. If I think of me, I mean, I could still get like somewhat okay-ish PBs and stuff. So you can say that maybe age hasn't really hit in for me yet, but it will eventually. It's just, it differs from people to people. You see in football, for example, or basketball, look at LeBron James. LeBron James is like 35, 36, and he's still a beast. He's maybe even better than he's ever been. So age is not necessarily a factor that will decide stuff, but it can and it will in the end.
And Dr. Rock is asking, Do you think, or when is Frostbill coming back? I guess we can rephrase it to, do you think he's ever going to come back to Trackmania and say some few words, maybe on a podcast or an interview, or maybe a tweet, or
I don't know.
yeah,
I know as much as everyone else does. I don't think it will, if I'm gonna be honest and predict. But it would be cool if it did. So
do you think, do you sometimes think, what is he doing in life now? I mean, it's so long since we heard about him, and every time we were so used to frequent updates
Yeah.
on him daily.
I mean, it's only natural to try to guess what he's doing right now because he's been such a big influence to the game and the community. But I don't spend too much time on it because it's impossible. I just hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly had issues when he left. So the fact that he's gone so long believes me or leads me to believe that he is doing fine, but that he probably never returns because it's such a big shadow in his past memory, which is fair.
Yeah.
So.
If there is any other question, feel free to ask them now. We have gone for 1 hour and 50 minutes, so yeah. But there's a lot of people here still, so it's fun to do it. But
Yeah, I don't mind.
if we talk about maybe influential people to Trackmania's overall history, I'm trying to get some sort of overview of it, but I basically joined too late. Who would you say is maybe the most influential people to where we end up today?
Well, Frost is obviously one. Of people that you might not know of, Death Driver, do you know him? No. He's a German guy that was, I'm pretty sure it was ESL.
Okay.
He helped organizing a lot there. He also organized the ESL Pro Series, at least the German side. Did you know that ESL Pro Series had Joe Miller as one of the casters for a long time?
No.
You don't know him?
No.
Okay, Joe Miller is a really big shoutcaster in
Okay.
esports. He went to League and such as well.
Okay.
Red Eye even has done stuff from WCG.
Yeah.
Death Driver. Maybe I would even say R2K, just because he did so many casts. He helped build the casting part of the game. Community members. Man, there's so long ago. I'm trying to remember if there's. For Norway, Beast. He was part of the national team in 2006. He then went on to becoming a referee at DreamHack. DreamHack had referees for each game, which were they were pretty much the organizers for each game, but they were also helping out with like disputes and such. So he is one. He helped creating tournaments for the Gathering and stuff as well. And he also went to work in different esports organizations like Lions, which were a Norwegian or are. In France, there are a few in France as well, I guess. Softy has to be mentioned.
100%, yeah.
I can't think of so many others. Some of the Mania Actu guys, like John and what's his name, Sky,
Yeah.
Thomas. Thomas is a really nice guy. I don't know what he's doing right now, but I love that guy. Yeah, there are so many that you can mention. It's impossible to Kem.
Yeah. Serrator.
Raylag, Serrator, yeah. Some of those are the newer ones though. I don't remember all the ones from the past. It's too many.
If you do some sort of quick end here with the start of New Trackmania means the end of probably Trackmania 2 Stadium. If you had to name who's the best player, what was the best event, what surprised you the most about this game? Start with the best player. I mean, pretty easy, but let's go top 3 then.
Top 3. So Trackmania 2 is from 13.
Yeah. Basically, ESWC 2013, I believe, was mainly the first biggest event.
Okay, so Carl, Tween, and Pack then, I would say, are the top 3, with Kappa right behind.
Okay.
I mean, the order is. I mean, Carl first. I don't know who's going to be second. It's kind of tough because Tween got second in 11 and 12.
Yeah,
and
but
then
that's not
I
Trackmania
know,
2,
but he got second twice more, right?
Yeah.
Or 3 times.
No, 2.
2?
Yeah, and 2
And
times third.
Pack won and got like top 2 and top.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a coin flip. But yeah, those are the top 3. Most memorable events. I want to say Gamers Assembly just because they were always so big and they were always so competitive. And the atmosphere was crazy as well. Jan Tegen. And in terms of bad events, I mean, we can mention that as well, since they should be mentioned. Mania Planet World Cup,
Yeah.
or the Shop Cup, as we
Shop Cup.
call it. That was probably the low of my career. Other than that, uh, game mechanics, Rammstein's, when MP4, right?
Yeah.
When MP4 came out. I still believe that when MP4 came out, other bugs got more prominent, so like the mid-road bugs and such.
Yeah.
The Rammstein's not being buggy anymore, at least when you drift over them. That was a big change, and something that we had asked for years. So I'll be very curious to see how that's going to be in the new game where they are completely gone.
Yeah.
I believe that there will be even sicker times done. Trackmania 2 Stadium has been great. I wouldn't call that game maybe the best memories of my life. In terms of meeting people, yeah, sure, but not in terms of performance. But that's to be expected because my best years were between 2009 and 11. But yeah, end of an era. Let's see how long Carl is going to be on top in the new game.
You think it's gonna keep being the best,
Yeah.
or? Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, what he did in Lyon is outrageous. They were in the bracket final there. Is probably the most dominant performance I have seen at least.
People just don't understand how good he's been for so long.
Yeah.
Even when the discussion was between him and Karian, I still believe Carl was the best.
Yeah.
Karian maybe had like a little bit higher top max potential, but to me, Carl has always been the best, and it's been amazing, an amazing journey to see him develop into the monster that he is.
Yeah.
People just need to, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blank now. And I don't want to say respect, but they just need to cherish him even more, because he's not going to be around for forever. So, but he's still young, so
Yeah, I mean, someone.
he might be until like 2030 or something.
Yeah. What do you think that it's gonna be like? Did you?
The live Rickroll,
Yeah. Did you pre-order the game? You said no, right?
No, I haven't yet. I will do. Too busy spending money on Pokemon.
Yeah, talk about that. I mean, Kalpa said that the most useful updates is me posting about UFC and you posting about Pokemon.
Did he say that?
Yeah, I don't know if I was supposed to leak that, but he called me out basically about the UFC. So
That's funny.
yeah, I mean, if you have a passion for something, that's the place to go. Twitter.
Yeah.
Even though I don't get any reactions on my UFC tweets, but tell us what is Pokemon? Why is that so popular?
Well, I did play a lot of Pokemon Go when it came out in 2016, but then, as everyone else did, with no to very few updates of the game, we took breaks. Then I started playing again at the end of summer last year, and I've just been hooked since then. Leading forward, in February I think, they added something in the game which is basically an online ranking system, where you can battle and then get on the leaderboard and then be invited to tournaments and such. And as the competitive person I am, I wanted to try it out, and last night I actually won my first tournament.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with some Japanese players, so that was pretty cool.
Hello.
Yeah. No, but it's just my competitive spirit.
Yeah.
It's in my nature. I want to be as good as possible in the game, and Pokemon is something that has been part of my life ever since I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I was born in 1990, and it came out in 97, so I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And it's always been part of my youth. So it's just, yeah, I love playing the game. I love going to raids with other people. It's very social. I've visited Spam
Yeah.
in November, and mainly actually just to be at a Pokemon event with him and some others from his chat. And we were supposed to go to Liverpool to an event in April, but that obviously got cancelled.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great way to keep in touch with other friends as well and do something social. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So this is the official last chance. I need to go to the toilet as well now. So yeah, if you have any questions, fire them out. But it's still nice to see so active chat. But maybe you have some words you want to share with people. So I mean, you have probably read the chat. It's hard to read it from here, but any.
I mean, I need to answer Amaterasu.
Okay.
I do miss Squirtle when I play the Solary map. Squirtle is a map that was played in TMM, I think.
Okay.
Well, one of the last team tournaments.
Okay.
And I trained it a lot, but it was the decider map,
Okay.
and we didn't get to the decider.
Yeah, I remember. You
I
said you trained one
I
map.
know left it so much,
Yeah.
and we didn't get to it. So yeah, it was fun.
Final question for people that maybe visit Trondheim, the city that you are born and living in. What is the main thing they should do if they come in for a one-day 2-day, 3-day holiday?
Visit me.
Visit you, do a podcast with you.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me that question actually, and I'm not really sure what I should answer. But I mean, we have a really big cathedral called Nidarosdomen. It's super old. It's not far from the city center, so that's something you should watch or check out. Even the surrounding area of Nidarosdomen is really nice. You just go for a walk. Like when I play Pokemon Go, I always walk around that river, so it's great scenery. And then you have something called Munkholmen, which is like a really small island with boat, like 5 minutes from here, which you can go and visit as well. It's kind of like a fort or a fortress. But I wouldn't call Trondheim maybe like the best city to visit in terms of tourism.
No.
It's not big enough. So, yeah, the main reason to come here is to see me.
That's it for me. Pleasure to do this interview. It's a pleasure to have some stops on the way so I don't drive the whole trip in one go, but still 12 hours to drive today. I will update you if I come alive, but any final words from you, any things you want to share with the people about Nordavind, yourself, Trackmania as a whole, anything I forgot to ask you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for doing all the work you do for Trackmania. I don't know if enough people say it, but you do a lot.
Thank you.
So I hope that you keep on doing it and get rewarded somehow, because you deserve it.
Yeah.
For the new game coming out, I do hope people give it a chance, regardless of whether they think that the pricing model is wrong or right, or it could be better, could be worse. And I do hope that people keep supporting Nordavind as much as they have so far. We are extremely happy with both the performance but also the response from the community. And I can safely say on behalf of the CEO of Nordavind that we are here for the long run. We love the community and we will keep on fighting and make sure that Trackmania grows as a game. So thank you.
Thank you once again. You are in the sort of top list now of guests visiting. Maybe you will be the first that is 4 times on the podcast. So we know if the borders is locked, I need to do some podcast live, and then you're a short response, even though it's 12 hours to drive. But
maybe I'll fly up instead.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't want to stay in a house that slids off from the mud.
Yeah, not that far off. It's
Okay,
not Alta.
good.
It's not Alta. But yeah, that's it for now. Pleasure to once again do this interview, and for all people that likes interviews, there is one schedule for tomorrow that is somewhat big. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it will come up tomorrow or on Sunday. And on Saturday, once the Serati Cup was supposed to happen, there will be a video about that as well. So make sure to stay tuned on this channel, and not be surprised if the guy next to me joins a podcast in the future as well. But yeah, that's it for now. Bye bye.